Yeah, no, I mean, there has been this pattern in recent memory, in the last 10 years, of closing down foreign bureaus, and it's a way because there's been this huge downsizing of the media market. Okay, there are fewer and fewer companies, so there's the competition is really only amongst 6 companies that own everything. And so as a way of maximizing the profits for their shareholders, a lot of foreign bureaus have been closed, which leaves then the BBC, Al Jazeera, and maybe I could get news from Poland, I can get news from France, on my cable channels. And if I can get those, I get a better idea of thanks to the subtitles, of what's going on in other parts of the world. But the American media, which is really what you're talking about here, the American media does not have very many foreign bureaus anymore, and it's partly as a cost-saving measure. And so the wire it's an interesting return to 50 years ago, when the wire services supplied the bulk of the information from these foreign continents. And but what it comes down to is how much airtime, if we're just going to talk about broadcast and cable, how much airtime is going to be given over to those freelancers or the wire services from supplying news feeds that they're going to give. Are they going to give a minute 5 to anything happening in Rwanda versus giving a minute 5 to something happening in Detroit? We're in an era right now where there's a certain level of provincialism among the American media companies and the news that they cover, despite the foreign wars we're involved in. So we're not living in a time where there's just a huge wealth of information, which is why. Did we talk about this? We had talked about this earlier privately about getting your sources, as many different sources as possible, and not rely on just the big 3 networks to supply you with information. Really, whether you are a citizen or whether you are a journalist or a practitioner, you really have to have a variety of sources for how you get your news. You can't rely on just one, because you will then narrowcast your skill set, and you will not be a very valuable employee nor an effective one, no matter which profession you choose.
Okay, I just wanted to thank Professor Pike and Professor Grasso for being here with us today. If you do have any questions and you want to talk to them after, they can probably stay for a few minutes. If not, we are going to have our e-board meeting right after this. So you're all welcome to shadow any one of the e-board members and see how we put programs like this together. If not, I want to thank all of you for coming. I hope you all got a lot of information about these 2 fields, and I want to thank our 2 speakers for coming out tonight.